Hundreds of university students and educators gathered in Montgomery's Capitol on Thursday, April 9th for Higher Education Partnership Day, affording the state's elected officials an opportunity to face students enrolled at state colleges and universities throughout Alabama and go on the record on their positions on funding challenges and solutions. Here now, opening the Higher Education Partnership Rally for 2015, is Gordon Stone, Executive Director of Alabama's Higher Education Partnership.
What a pleasure to have the opportunity to once again represent all of Alabama's public universities in front of the State House as we remind our elected officials that Alabama's universities change lives and they're worth supporting. You represent, when you stand, if you stood where I was standing right now and looked across this audience, or if you had the opportunity that I have every day to work with Alabama's future, you would know that if we empower our leaders, our future leaders, our students, we can change not just this state, but the world. And if you don't believe that, if there's anybody in this audience that doesn't believe you can change the world, look around. Walk around this city sometime before you leave today and look at the life-changing things that have happened right here in Montgomery, Alabama. You can make it happen from your hometown, your university, in this state. But once we go through the day, there are going to be three things when you go home. When you go home, there are three things I want you to remember. The first is, we're going to say no when it comes to taking money from the education fund. No! We're going to say yes when it comes to investing in universities, because we increase income! And we're going to say we do that better and better when we move back toward 1/3! 1/3! 1/3! Thank you very much. Now, what we want to do is I want to give you the opportunity to hear from the chairman of our board. Every good organization has great leadership, and we're fortunate to have that. Y'all welcome R.T. Floyd, the chairman of the partnership board.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Higher Education Day 2015. It's great to see so many students here actually participating in the decisions that affect your future and the future of our state's economy. Thanks so much for taking time away from your classes to be here. I know you missed those, but we're glad to have you here today. Today it's important to let your legislators know how much you appreciate their work on your behalf to advance this state through funding higher education. It's important to remind them that the best investment they can make in the future of Alabama is to invest in higher education. The legislators that you elected to work for you need to hear from you and hear your thoughts directly from each of you today. If you, your family, friends, and neighbors don't tell the story for higher education, the legislators may not fully understand the importance of higher education in the future of Alabama. We need to make sure and get that message heard about preserving the Education Trust Fund. So do your part, go into this building, meet with your senators and representatives, thank them for their work, and let them know how critical higher education funding is to the future of all of Alabama. Now, it's great that you're here today, but when you return home to your campuses, that's when the work really begins. Because this is not a sprint, this is a marathon. Encourage your fellow students and faculty and friends and families and neighbors to do their job in giving feedback to the people who work here for you in this State House. You can make a difference. Your senators and representatives want to hear from you and need to hear, and not just once. This is something you need to keep up semester after semester and year after year to make a difference. Help the future be even brighter for Alabama. Let Alabama's brightest stars shine. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hey, Anybody here get tired of your costs going up all the time? Look at this chart. This chart shows tuition and fees in the nation, tuition and fees in the region, and guess who's higher than both? Tuition and fees in Alabama. Now we know that it takes money to run our institutions. So we know that our boards of trustees and our administration, they do all they can. The way to help fix that is to get back to 1/3! 1/3! 1/3! Do you know that if we were funded at 1/3 last year alone, just last year, we would have had $570 million more dollars in higher ed, and your tuition, I want to bet, probably wouldn't have gone up.
That's a shame.
But we're not there. We're not there. So you got to remember what Mr. Floyd said. He said, go to work. Talk to your legislators. And that's what we're here for. Now I want you to hear from a member of the Alabama Senate, a person who's going to speak to us from many different perspectives. He's a leader at the Board of Trustees level at one of our institutions, Troy University. He's also a senator who has fought the battles in the trenches for higher ed for many, many years. Senator Gerald Dowell.
Wow. Thank you, Robin. Thank you. Thank each of you for being here. It's a great day. I understand where you're coming from, and I see your concern, and I know where we are. First, I know the governor is coming to speak to you. The governor sent us a budget which gave us an appropriation increase for higher ed. Make sure you let the governor know we appreciate that. Also, we put out a budget yesterday that had an increase. It had a small increase, but it had an increase in there for higher ed. That's something we've got to continue to work for. Now I want to give you a challenge. I want you to listen real carefully because you've had a good day, you're out of school, it's a great, wonderful day, you got to go back. I want everyone here that will call their legislature between now and next week to hold up your hand. If you'll make a phone call to your legislator, hold up your hand. Now don't lie to me, don't lie. You call your legislator and you tell him and her how important it is that we fund higher ed. Because we all know the economic impact. No board of trustees, and I fortunately have the great opportunity to serve on the board of trustees, no trustee board wants to raise tuition. But if we continue to see diminishing funding for higher ed, that's the only resource. We want enough funding so that we can stabilize tuition and give you that opportunity to get that college degree you want and you deserve. Thank you, and God bless you. God bless Alabama. Thank you very much.
All right, I want to show y'all something else. This number in the red, can y'all see that? Hey, back there in the back, y'all see that number in the red? Well, is it bigger than the green? Is the red bigger than the green? Well, red in this case represents what is funded on a per student basis in the region. That's how much they get per student regionally on an average. In Alabama, we get the green. We're over $1,000 less in what we fund you than all of the region. That's why when the senator said, will you call your member of the House? Will you call your member of the Senate? And he asked you to raise your hand. I want to know, will you let him know? Will you make sure they hear? It's very, very simple. You create jobs, you create opportunity, and by investing in you, we create income for this state. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard Senator Dowell when he said, Governor Bentley sent us a budget that proposed a significant increase for higher education. Is that good? Yeah! Unfortunately, the governor can't send and pass his own budget. He has to work through the process. And the process is slowing that down, and the number has gone down. So y'all do two things. Two things right here, right now. Two things. I want you, one, I want you to thank the governor, and two, I want you to commit to helping him get it back up. Y'all recognize and thank Governor Robert Bentley.
Hey guys, listen, thank you all for coming out. This is always a special day every year when we all support higher education. You know, higher education, as Gordon Stone just said, is so vital to our state because higher education is what we have to have in order to have an advanced state. And what y'all are doing, coming down here, supporting higher education, I want to thank you for that. In our budget that we sent over, we increased the amount. I believe it was 3.5%. We increased it over last year's budget. And every year that I have been governor, we have had an increase in higher education. Speak to your representatives, speak to your senators, speak to those in this House, because I have sent the budget over. Speak to them and tell them to support higher education. Yes, sir. So thank y'all all for coming today, and thank you for being here, because your presence makes a difference. And so I want you to know how much I appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Guys, hey, I want to talk to y'all now. Really, seriously, listen to me while we've got the governor here. You know, we've been doing this a long time. Can everybody hear me? Can you guys hear me in the back? We've been doing this a long time. And we've been talking about 1/3 for a long time. And sometimes we leave here, Governor, and people say, well, Gordon, that's great, but what does that really mean? Well, I want to show y'all something. See this report right here? It's entitled The Economic and Social Impacts of Alabama's Public Higher Education. We just spent 6 months having this developed by the Center for Higher Education Policy at the University of Alabama to make the point that our 14 public universities, we're not just talk, we are fact. Governor, this report's going to show you that for every $1,000 invested in higher education, the income in this state improves by $8.7 million. We want you to have that as ammunition as we work to help you get your budget through this Senate and House. Thank you, Governor. Y'all let him hear. Now, the governor sends a budget over here, and then members of the House and Senate work on it, and then they try to make it fit what they believe is in our best interest. And then it goes back to the governor for a signature. So it comes over and it goes through the process. Well, when it gets here, it depends on really sharp, astute, dedicated leadership. And what we hope and what we work for and what we ask for is leaders in those positions that are going to make higher education and particularly our universities a priority. The next speaker is Chairman Bill Poole, Representative Bill Poole, who chairs the Ways and Means Committee in the House. In other words, he writes the education budget in the House of Representatives. He is our friend. We are glad to have him. Y'all welcome Mr. Poole.
Thank you. Well, let me say, first of all, I want to thank every one of you for being here. I know you have things going on at home, you have studies, you have social activities, you have a lot of things to do, but your future is important enough for you to be here to advocate for funding for you universities, and I appreciate that. So I applaud y'all, and I really do appreciate that. So thank you for coming. Thank you for getting on that bus this morning, and thank you for doing all the things that you do. Now let me tell you, y'all don't have to convince me of anything. I understand the significance of education in the state. I understand it from pre-K all the way up through our four-year institutions. So you don't have to sell me on the value of higher education in the state of Alabama. That value is crystal clear. What you have to do is make sure that you go out and that you advocate every single day, and you let the people that represent you, not just your campuses, but your hometowns, wherever you came from across this state, let them know that the key to your future and your education, or your future and your success, is education. And that they need to support education every day that we're down here in Montgomery. So when you get on the bus this evening and when you go home, everybody's here and they hear you today, but make sure that that's not the end of it. You've got to pick up that phone. You've got to get involved in local elections. You've got to go volunteer for members. You've got to call them. They will listen to you. I promise you, they will listen to you. If you call them, tell them where you're from, that they're your representative, and they will listen to you. And you need to tell them what's important to you. And higher education funding and education funding in general is your priority. So take that message out there and fight every day for it and tell your story. You have a good story as an individual in this state. Your institution has a good story. Go tell it. Thank you very much.
Y'all thank Mr. Pooh one more time. And Mr. Chairman, we've got for you a copy of that executive summary that shows those returns. And one more time, guys, for every $1,000 invested in higher education in this state, we return $8.7 million. I want y'all to think about something. This graph. Y'all play along with me again. I need your help. Can y'all see? Can you see the yellow, the gold here? Yeah. See that gold? Yeah. Hey, Hornets, y'all got some gold. You see that gold? Yeah. That gold represents the percentage of people in the working population throughout this nation that have 4-year degrees. And the gold is national average. It says 29.8% throughout the nation. People in the working population. Okay? The blue. Y'all see the blue? Yeah. The blue represents the percentage in the region. 27%. Here's the problem. The green represents Alabama. No. 23%. Is that good enough? No. Is that good enough? No. Is that good enough? No. How do we fix it? 1/3. How do we fix it? How do we fix it? 1/3. Let me hear you. 1/3. 1/3. We want 1/3. Equity and listen to me. We're not greedy. No. We're not asking for everything. No. We believe in pre-K. We believe in K through 12. We believe in the 2-year schools. But we need them to believe in us. And us is not a generic term. We want equity in funding, which is represented by 1/3, 2/3, because we want to invest in you. You represent the future of this state. You represent the future school teachers. You represent the people who are going to be our pharmacists, who are going to be our engineers. Anybody drive over a bridge today coming in? Drive over a bridge, you just riding down the road, cross the bridge. Did anybody stop, get out to see if it was going to hold you up? No. Yes. Why did you know it would? Because engineers built it who were trained by our universities. To talk to you a little bit more about the critical role of our universities and what public universities mean, we have a representative of our university presidents, the chair of the University Presidents Council, Dr. John Stewart from the University of Montevallo.
Hey everybody, good morning. Thank you all so much for being here. It's an honor to represent my colleagues at the Council of Presidents for the Alabama State Universities. I know there are two of my colleagues here, Dr. John Veras and Dr. Gwen. Dr. Gwen's from Alabama State, Dr. Veras from AUM. Thanks for being here. Anybody else I didn't notice, I'm sorry about that. Gordon mentioned a very important economic impact study. I wanted to acknowledge that Dr. Steve Kacinas over here, who led that study with his 2 graduate students. Thank you, Dr. Steve. Listen, today is about you. As I travel around the country, I meet colleagues consistently who complain about not enough people in their states caring about higher education. And I can tell you, Dr. Bentley, thank you. Chairman Poole, thank you. Other legislators who are here, thank you, thank you, thank you. We need you in this fight. But today is about y'all. Let me give a real quick shout out to the UM students here. You don't know this. The Higher Education Partnership, in part, was founded by Tom Walker, our alum and vice chairman of our board, and I hope you'll share that with Mr. Walker. Last night, at a banquet, somebody asked me, what can we really do philosophically to further this cause? And I could only think of one thing, and I'll leave you with this. The great abolitionist of his time, and one of the early great African-American statesmen in this country, was growing old. He was at the very end of his life. He was hunched over in a chair, and he really didn't talk much anymore. But a young fan of his came to visit him before he died and said, "Mr. Frederick Douglass, what can I do to further our cause?" One of his last words. He gathered himself up with some of the last strength that Frederick Douglass had. He pulled his coat like this, and he said, "Agitate, agitate, agitate." So keep up the good fight, gang. We love you. Thank you.
Okay, guys, we're reaching some pretty simple conclusions, aren't we? Absolutely, 1/3. But I want to go back to those other 2 points. Those other 2 points. Let me tell you, in 1997, a group of university presidents like Dr. Stewart and their lobbyists came together. Because over there in that building, we had a governor who said, we can solve our funding problems in other areas. We'll just take the money from higher ed. No! I'm not kidding. And so the presidents and the lobbyists came together and they said, if we are to fight this battle, we cannot fight it as individuals. We must fight it with a combined voice that truly tells our story, and that voice represents you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're at UNA, or if you're at A&M, or if you're at UAH, or if you're at JSU, or if you're at UAB, or if at Montevallo, or at the University of Alabama, if you're at West Alabama, if you're here at ASU or AUM or Auburn, if you're at Troy or you're at South, or you're at Athens State, ladies and gentlemen, you make a difference in this state. Thank you for what you do. Now, you know, again, we do not come here empty-handed or unarmed. We come here with strength, but that strength will depend on you making a decision. Anybody here willing to make a decision? Anybody here willing to commit to doing something to make a difference for your university? Are you willing? Ladies and gentlemen, this is a numerical illustration. I've also got it in graphical form. I'll show you in a minute. But this is a chart from the Bureau of Economic Analysis out of Washington that studies all 50 states. And what this chart shows is that Alabama's per capita income in our state is ranked 43rd in the nation. 43rd! How many of you want your athletic teams ranked 43rd? How many people watch watch the sports at night that aren't even affiliated with this to see where our sports teams, did we win? Did we win? Did we win? They don't ask, did we finish 43rd? Did we finish 43rd? Should we be satisfied and then come with a 43rd ranking? What? What? We can do better. And what did that report tell us? For every $1,000 invested, we return to the income of this state $8.7 million. I've got to see a great friend of higher education who understands our story better than anybody that I could ask to come speak today. Senator Jabbo Wagner just walked out, and I want to ask him as he walks around to come share with you why. And I want you guys, now look, listen to me, everybody look up here. Listen to me. For 18 years I've been in this job. And for 18 years we've been asking people to help. And we've been asking for leaders to help. And I want to tell you, over the course of time that I've been in this job, this gentleman, Senator Jabbo Wagner, has never refused to help you. Y'all let him know how much you appreciate that.
Thank y'all again for coming. Every year on this occasion, due to my respect for Gordon, I show up on this platform and welcome y'all to Montgomery and maybe advise you a little bit on how you can change a trend. And I'm going to tell you what that trend is. It's not good for you. It was not too many years ago that the state budget gave 2/3 of the money to K through 12 and 1/3 to higher education. The bad news is that 1/3 is shrinking every year. Not good news, not good news. The people that can change that trend work up on the 5th floor and up on the 7th floor of this building. Hold up. Let me tell you how to change that trend. When you go back home, you have a House member and a Senate member that represents you in Montgomery. They are sent down here because of you. You vote for them, they come to Montgomery, and you have a call on them. You have a call on them because you live in their district and they are obligated to talk to you, and they need to be accessible. They're supposed to be accessible. In other words, when you call them, they should answer the phone, they should call you back. If you go visit them in their office, they need to be accessible and they need to hear you. But my words are useless unless you do that, okay? You're gonna have to take some time, you're gonna have to take some energy. When you go home, you need to get on the phone or go visit your House member and Senate member and tell them you are tired of the 1/3 shrinking every year that we're in session. But unless you do it, it will have no effect. It's going to take a little time, it's going to take a telephone call, it's going to take a visit to see your House member and your Senate member. And I'm going to ask you to do that, and you can change it. We respond to people's visits, we respond to people's phone calls, we respond to people's asking us to do something. But every year that 1/3 has shrunk, and you need to change the trend. You are the future of this state. Someday some of you will be on the 5th floor and on the 7th floor. Some of you will be running major corporations in this state. Some of you will have very responsible jobs. You are the future of the state of Alabama. And I want you, whether you're Auburn, Alabama, Troy, Jacksonville, North Alabama, South Alabama, West Alabama, wherever you are, I want you to take serious your studies because you are the future. Some of us will not be in the Senate or the House, but you will. Again, let me thank y'all for coming to Montgomery today. We have a beautiful day. So let me encourage you to do what I ask. Get on the phone, go visit. And when this is over, come to the 5th floor and the 7th floor. We welcome you. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Senator Wagner. We want you to have a copy of this study so you can take it back to your colleagues and let them know $1,000 equals a return of $8.7 billion. All right, now I want you to listen. We've got a special guest here today that's going to relate directly to you. The next member of the Alabama House of Representatives was here in this audience in 2010. He was one of you guys who came down here and said, I will make a difference. I hear the message and I will respond. And guess what? Now he's down here with the opportunity to fight for what we do, what we need, which is 1/3! 1/3! 1/3! Y'all welcome Representative Anthony Daniels.
Thank you. Thank you. You don't have a better advocate for higher education than Gordon. He's been very consistent. Even when I was in your shoes today, 5 years ago, as a student fighting for more support and funding for higher education. Back in 2007, when I was a national student leader, I fought at the national level for make college more affordable and accessible. In 2007, President Bush signed into law the College Cost and Reduction Act. And so now I've taken the fight from the national level, and today I'm your #1 advocate here in the Alabama State House of Representatives. I understand the importance of our institutions and all that they do each and every day to ensure that each and every one of you have an opportunity to live the American dream right here in Alabama. As someone with nearly $58,000 in student loans, I do understand that investing in higher education is good for our economy, for our state, and our nation. So you don't have to say anything to me because I am your #1 fan. I will continue to fight for you, and I will fight for you each and every day to ensure that you receive your 1/3 of the budget in the state of Alabama. So thank you for what you do. Continue to call your representatives and show up in record numbers just like you are today, because they need to hear from you. You need to focus on the districts that they represent and on the ground level. You need to get a lot of individuals involved and continue to fight, to advocate for higher education, because leaders like me, we're on the front lines just like you are today, realize the importance of investing in higher education. So I want you to ensure that my colleagues here in the Alabama State House of Representatives too understand the importance of investing in higher education and giving you your 1/3. Thank you and God bless you.
Now, this is very important, just like everybody else who's been up here, whose voices you've heard. The one you hadn't heard from yet is the elected presidential representative from the students. You see, the student SGAs all have a president, right? And those presidents get together and elect someone to be their voice throughout this process. This year, we are so proud to introduce to you and let you hear from Brett Johnson, Chair of the University Student President's Council from Jacksonville State University.
Thank y'all. Thank you, Gordon. Who's ready for lunch? Well, I wish I could say they saved the best for last, but we're going to see how it goes. Over the course of the last few years, y'all know higher education funding has not been adequate and the revenue's not been what we need for our universities. Through the past legislative sessions, we've continued to advocate to return that 1/3 that we used to get. You see, when universities don't get the adequate funding that they deserve, the institutions have three choices. One is to cut programs. Two is to reduce educational capacity. Three is to raise tuition. None of these are good choices for business in Alabama. Last year's budget, however, had modest increases for higher education, and we're thankful for that. But to be honest, it's not enough.
No, it's not.
That's why we're here today, and that's why we must continue to fight for more higher education funding. We're here today to remind Alabama's political leaders that state appropriations must be improved if we're really to grow our state's economy. Every year, thousands of students, citizens, and voters march down here to the Capitol for this event. In fact, this is the single largest public demonstration in Montgomery annually. So why is it that we're not seeing equitable gains to match our indisputable public support? We're here to remind our legislators, who were just out campaigning and elected a few months ago, that we need that funding that we deserve. We come to remind them that everyone in attendance today is a voter or a constituent of the state of Alabama. We have families here. We work here. We shop here. We're from rural Alabama, suburban Alabama. We're from Birmingham, Mobile, Huntsville, and some of us are from Jacksonville State University. And we're here to ask, actually, we're here to beg our legislators to commit to understanding the importance of our universities. Each and every one of these universities are held in complete trust by the state of Alabama. And the fate of our schools, the fate of our students, the fate of our faculty and staff and all of their families lies in the hands of every legislator inside this building. So we ask them to consider those students who are working 2 jobs just to pay for school. Some of you are out there, I'm sure. That first-generation college student trying to pull himself up by the bootstraps. That student who barely affords their school's tuition rates currently by breaking their back at minimum wage jobs. What do our legislators say to those students when their school is forced to raise tuition because the legislature could not provide adequate funding? Now fast forward 10 years. That ex-student was forced to drop out of school and continue working minimum wage jobs just to survive. Because his legislators didn't see the importance of his education, he was unable to reach his destination of becoming an electrical engineer. Now he would pay minimal taxes and look forward every year to getting a tax refund instead of benefiting thousands in taxes to the state's economy because of his personal financial success. That's what higher education does for students, and that's what higher education does for the state of Alabama. So what will our legislators say? How will they justify allowing our youth, our students, our future professionals, and our future breadwinners to suffer? How can we justify dampening opportunities and closing doors by defunding our universities? Who will take a stand for the next generation? Who will lead the way to making Alabama's universities the best supported in the nation? Who will lead the way to growing Alabama's education and future workforce? We implore this newly elected legislature to commit to those ends in this new quadrennium. They hold the office and they hold the power. We hold them in good faith to support our dreams of becoming a shining beacon for the rest of the United States of America. Thank you.
All right, guys. We have another member of the Alabama House of Representatives here. Representative Jack Williams wanted to come forward and just say hello to you guys from Birmingham. Welcome him.
Welcome to Montgomery. Thank you for being here. I want you to know we hear your voice, we understand what you're saying, and there are those of us in the legislature fighting to improve the quality of life for college students and improve higher ed across the state. Thank you. Stay involved. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Jack. Thank you for your leadership. All right, guys. Now, each year we try to do something right here at the end. Now, y'all don't leave on me, because I want you to remember this. What we try to do is leave you with something that you won't forget. Now, there are three things we're trying to accomplish. Do we want money taken from the Education Trust Fund? No! Do we want people to understand that investing in universities increases income? And how do we do that? We need what do we need? What do we gotta have? What will make a difference? This chart right here shows you that our funds have been going down, and we have to stop that trend.
It has to stop!
I want to ask y'all a question.
It can stop! What's in the
Do you want your university showing signs that say danger, restricted area? No! Do you want a sign that says keep out? Do you want a sign that says this door must be closed? The door's closed. What do you want? What do you need? What do you have? If you do that, you know what the sign says? Open! Open! You know what? I want to show y'all something. You see this? That's a ladder. That is what you have